Hi, I'm Dana, and every time I bring up my food and eating issues online, I have people telling me that these meal boxes would actually really help me out. And I'm not too sure because part of what I struggle with is having like actual meal ideas, not liking meals, not really having a wide array of food. You can check out my other videos to see what the issues are. This video is us trying to solve them. So this Gusto box, I literally only got it because it was an offer that I saw randomly online. I've always seen HelloFresh before. People have always recommended me HelloFresh. But I saw an ad for this and it was 5 meals for £17.60. That is so cheap for food at the minute. And they have a whole bunch of vegan options. And I was like, screw it. Like £17.60 for 5 meals is a really good deal. So I was immediately quite impressed by just pulling the produce out of the box. I liked the way it was packaged. It all felt very clean and protected without being like over the top packaging. I really appreciated how much of it was in paper or cardboard instead of plastic. Like a whole load of the stuff that I would usually buy in plastic came in paper instead. So I love that. And I also just really appreciated the way that it was all packed separately while still being like in the same box. Like there was a separate box to help with like the fridge items versus like the vegetables that don't need to be super cold and everything. So just off the bat, it felt like everything was actually edible. So we're gonna go to me cooking now, and then I'll tell you my other thoughts and feelings on the box and how I got through it and if it actually helped. So we're now cooking the first meal that I've cooked from this. We're doing the beetroot hummus and roast veg butter bowl because that's the ingredients that are going to go off the soonest. So I'm fairly sure I need to preheat my oven for this. What I'm going to do, right, I'm going to be smart about this. I'm going to read through it all and then collect the ingredients. I'll come back and tell you what it needs and then we'll cook it together. Okay, so I've mostly wrapped my head around this. We're going to go through the ingredients and then we're going to make an actual proper start on it. We've got bulgur wheat. I've never had this before, I'm quite excited to try it. Butternut squash cubes, chickpeas, cooked beetroot, 1 garlic clove for this whole recipe. Okay, ground cumin, lemon, nigella seeds, rocket, tahini paste, and tender stem broccoli. Very first instruction is preheat your oven to 200 degrees. So I've done that. Oh, it's 180 if you're on fan. My oven just does like 150 to 200, so I'm just going to leave it there. And boil a kettle, and I've done that, so I'm going to reboil, I think, but it's fine for the second. And the first thing we're going to do is drain the beetroot in a colander over the sink and chop it up. One thing I like about the Gusto boxes so far is that for me personally, it's quite a good mix of things that I know that I like and things that I've never tried before. So like most of the vegetables I've had and I like, but a lot of the like grains, and it's really just the grains I suppose. Although the proteins, some of them are different brands than I usually get, so that's fun. This is a lot of beetroot for one recipe. Mind you, we're doing 2 different things with it. We're doing like some roasted beetroot as well as a hummus. I haven't made hummus in ages. I had a phase where I made hummus like really regular and I made tahini and everything. I got quite good at it and it was delicious. But then I just stopped doing it. I also like a lot of my like appliances broke. I just couldn't afford to fix them. But now I've moved in with winter and they've got everything, so I'm gonna be doing all that again. Some of this is quite heavy on olive oil. I don't have any nice olive oil. I am gonna have to get some, I think. Should have thought of that earlier, but there's some old vegetable oil that someone else is, and there's this one that I brought with me, so we're going to use that because I kind of trust it a bit more. I don't want like loads, but a good healthy drizzle, you know? Like I want things to get kind of crispy and yummy. And we're adding the butternut squash cubes. Garlic with the skin on. And half of the beetroot wedges. I'm going to use one of these really fun little things to like sort of squish it about and get all the oil and like sort of coat everything. You know, I want it mixed. I think it's mixed. It shows it being It initially shows it mixed in the picture, but then they sort it out. So we're also gonna do it sorted. I don't like that we're done that. Do the same thing, and like it's just a lack of consistency, honestly. I do fear that every step's gonna actually take me significantly longer than they expected it to, and that'll fuck me up. But we're going with it now. Oh, that doesn't feel like I shouldn't have eaten so many. I only eat 2. I don't know why I'm having a back and forth with myself like Gollum. And then that goes in for 10 to 15 minutes as if I'm going to remember that. Otis is here. I know you shouldn't have a cat about while cooking, but he's only baby, it's okay. And he shifts when it's anything hot or scary though. So that's going in there. I'm gonna retrieve my laptop and just keep it open over here so I can see what time it is and maybe set a timer. I feel like there's also something I'm meant to be doing meanwhile. While the veg is roasting, add your bulgur to a pot with plenty of boiled water and a pinch of salt. Bring the pot to a boil over high heat and cook for 7 to 9 minutes until tender with a slight bite. Once cooked, drain and return to the pot. I like that it is largely like cook until it feels right, like it's the right vibe, you know, like cook it until it's cooked. What am I? Yeah. Plenty of boiling water. Don't know, it really specifies plenty, guys. Probably too much. I'm doing that on high for 7 to 9 minutes. So it's exactly 10 past, that's easy enough. Meanwhile, drain and rinse your chickpeas and put your lemon into quarters. I think this is the part where we make the hummus. Add the remaining beetroot wedges to a food processor with half the drained chickpeas. You'll use the rest later. Your tahini and a squeeze of lemon juice. Add a tablespoon of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of cold water, and a generous pinch of salt and whip until smooth. No garlic in there, huh? Okay. So winter has one of these like NutriBullet type ordeals. So I'm just going to use that. The drained chickpeas. I don't know how well you can see any of it now I think about it. The tahini. Okay, now we're going to do a blitzy blitz. I don't know if this is a blitzy blitz part. No, okay, we need to leave that for a second. Check if that stuff's tender to the bite. Yeah, okay, so I did forget to add salt though. I'm gonna try this again for a minute. I'm gonna stop this a sec. Okay, I've blended that to a consistency I'm happy enough with. And it's time to add the rest of the veg to the tray, and I need to figure out how the hell I'm draining that. Sizzling! Oh, this looks great. I just dropped every detail here. Chickpeas. And some broccoli. Oh wait, we're doing oil and cumin on that first, aren't we? Yeah. My fucking memory ran out, so I don't know where we left off, but I've put all the other stuff on the tray and that's now going back in for 10 to 15 minutes until everything's cooked. I need to ask Winter if they're a sieve. Wing it and hope for the best. I'm gonna drain as much as I can by just pouring. And once I start getting scared about like actually losing it, I'm gonna do something with paper towels. Yeah, I think I can like sort of like press the gates and let it just sort of run out, you know? Pray for me. I want this to be good. It tasted decent out of the pan. I really liked in America that like I had a lot of things I obviously don't try very often or haven't tried before, and I really enjoyed a lot of their like various types of vegan bowls that they do, especially in LA. It was actually really, really yummy. Yeah, there we are. That's strange, sick. Okay, what do we do next? Some shit these lemons, I'm sure. Meanwhile, add a small squeeze of lemon juice, 2 tablespoons of olive oil. I've only got my shitty oil, we're just going to have to do that. And a pinch of salt and pepper. Winter can't deal with the spice of pepper. To a small bowl and stir it together. Once the veg is cooked, squeeze the roasted garlic from its skin into the bowl and discard the skin. I can definitely just bring that out, that's definitely done. Mash the roasted garlic with a fork and whisk into the dressing. Ooh, this is your roasted garlic dressing. Wash your salad and then pat it dry. That's the rocket. Okay, cool, let's go. It's pretty dodgy, but some of it's alright. And the garlic. I'm actually really looking forward to this. Like, it all smells and looks really fucking good. So we need to get the garlic out of its skin. I always just cut off the root and then squeeze it. I don't know if that's what you're meant to do. I don't know if that is like the technique, but it's what I do. It's my technique. There you go. Oh, it'll be mashable with a fork though. Delicious. Okay, fork and mash. This is a bit over roasted for this type of thing, I'm not gonna lie to you. Like, it's got a bit of like a crispy skin that I might need to actually like chop up with a knife. But some of it's like actually mashing on my skin. Like, it's not a lost cause. Yeah, I am gonna go with my knife and like literally just chop it up a bit. Like, roasted browned garlic skin, not like the skin, but you know when it's like crispy a bit on the clove. That's not a bad thing to have in there. That'll be yummy. Okay, we've gotten that like pretty small and mashed honestly, so I'm just gonna whisk it a bit. Okay, I'm gonna blend this a bit more. Yeah, then it's gonna all be done. I'll be back with you when I've decided that roasted veg is cooked, because that's literally all that needs to happen. I just need to decide it's done. It's basically all edible, so I'll be back with you to plate it off. I was so impressed with this meal. It was genuinely delicious. I didn't find it too difficult to put together. I will give that there's a whole bunch of the things in the Gusto recipes that, because it's telling me to do it in that specific way, that's what I did. And it's stuff that I know how to do. It's stuff that I've found my own ways of doing that I find significantly easier than the way that the recipe tells you to. But I have to follow the recipe. That's the way my brain works. So I did it in the way that I find more difficult, even though I could have done the easier way. But I also appreciate that that's me usually accommodating to myself and looking out for myself in that way. And for the average person that perhaps doesn't already know how to cook very well, you would need to have the instruction of like, do this and do that. So it's one of those things that I didn't find helpful personally, but I also very much understand why it's there. The thing that I did find really, really helpful was having all of my ingredients already there and pre-portioned. Going and doing a grocery shop to get ingredients is a nightmare for me. I really struggle with portion sizes and knowing how much I should use, and quite regularly end up having way too much or not enough. And I also hate it when you end up with like the little bit left at the end of the bag, because that is going to sit in my cupboard forever. It's good and food, so I can't get rid of it. But also, I'm literally not using it because it was required in one recipe, you know? So I don't feel like it's the type of thing that's necessarily apparent from just using this for 1 week, but I do think that over like prolonged continued use of it, I think that I would actually save a whole load of food wastage and not waste as much food as I usually do. So I forgot to like properly film for the second day. I made one of the other meals, and then I also made this tofu and sushi rice, and it was, again, absolutely delicious. Like, these meals are genuinely so good, but I did indeed burn my rice. I always burn rice. It's the absolute bane of my existence. But look how good that looked. It was so good. It was genuinely one of the best meals I've ever eaten. Like, it was so good. I decided that I need to be an adult and use the food that I bought and finish the video that I spent several days already sorting out. So I don't know. So today we're making this one. I forgot to film one that I already made. I might have already told you that. But we're making this little curry thing. A meat-free chicken jalfrezi with Jira rice. I'm concerned about the rice because I fucking burn rice every time. But I first of all... See, I do make a decent little like pan-fried flatbread. But I could also just like sort a bit of butter, like put some herbs and spices and shit in it. Spread it on some fucking pita wraps and shove that in oven, and that's basically same thing, isn't it? That's all it took. Oh, I also have bread up here that I've made. I made a really good bread, and to be fair, it isn't mouldy, and it doesn't... I'm not going to eat it because it's been there like a week. I forgot about it, I won't lie, but look at that, I made that. Hey, that's a good bread, isn't it? I'm good at bread. So yeah, I'm gonna use these wraps and stir some. I'll show you when I do it. Like, I'm gonna What I'm going to do this time is like angle it over because I'm using a different tripod that belongs to Winter, so I can do that now. So that's going to be super easy and something I can probably do in between steps or right at the end. So I'm just going to put those there for now. And like last time, I'm going to start by gathering all the ingredients together. Cumin seeds, chili flakes, garlic cloves, 3 garlic cloves. I think that several of the recipes may have required more garlic than I used because there's just like loads of garlic left, but we can move on. So I just need the chicken out of the fridge. I'm gonna have to like shuffle past you really awkwardly, I'm sorry. So to give a bit of a roundup while I'm cooking this was the last meal I had actually. I did not end up eating the like shepherd's pie type of meal. I ended up binning those ingredients. I don't feel good about it. But my defense is that Winter went into hospital. I had like extraneous circumstances. I had different circumstances to usual. I do think that if Winter had still been at home and I was still cooking it for both of us every day, I would have done each and every meal and I would have used it. Like it would have been a 1 per day for 5 days type of thing. Whereas like I ended up having this last meal on the 9th, I think it was. Like the ingredients were technically out of date when I made this. But I will say that every single one of these meals was genuinely delicious. Like it's so good. And as someone who really struggles with like trying new things and actually finding things I enjoy, that was a massive, massive bonus. And especially when it comes to vegan cooking, like even though I've been vegan for like 6 years, a lot of the things that other vegans make, I am like, oh, great. I don't want it. It's not good. But all of these, I was like genuinely surprised by how delicious they were. The downside for me is that they're all delicious because they genuinely take quite a bit of energy and effort to cook. You've got a good amount of chopping, you've got a good amount of slicing, you're doing like multiple things. Like I understand that these boxes aren't going to be like throw everything in a pan, throw everything in the oven, you know, I understand that they are recipes, but it also like almost every recipe involved having something in the oven, something in like a frying pan, and something boiling. And that's just a lot of brain processing power for me on a bad day. So that's also another reason that I just could not get around to finishing all of the meals. But I did really like how long things were good for. Like I ordered this on, I think it arrived on the 2nd or the 1st, and it was everything needed to be used by the 8th. Like I had over 7 days. I remember that. I remember being like, oh, it's more than 7 days. That's really good because I'm not getting it all used. But and I like I say, I think that if things hadn't gone the way they had in a completely unexpected way, I actually would have eaten all of these meals. I don't think I would manage that every week if I was to consistently get these. But I do think that when I'm in a slump, when I'm not doing too well with my eating, when I don't really know what to eat, or, you know, when I just have no desire for food, I don't have a safe food, nothing's going on, and I don't want to eat anything, this is a really good way to encourage me to eat and actually enjoy cooking and enjoy the food again. And it was a really, really good way to get myself to try new things. Like, I'm gonna have to go through the recipes. I have a terrible memory, but the different types of rice and like the bulgur wheat and things like that are just things that I'd never ever tried before, and I would have never thought to try. I would have been like, I don't know how to cook it, I don't know what to do with it, and I'd still definitely have to look up a recipe. But they're things that I'm probably gonna buy in future and give a go on my own. And that was one of the big things for me, is that like I just so often do not know what to eat. So having a recipe that's there waiting with all the ingredients ready to just go and cook, combined with like I can make this again in future, I have the recipe cards now, I do think that it's like actually useful, to be fair. You know, like I don't think this is gonna like absolutely fix my eating issues or sort out all of my like just the general issues I have around food and eating and making stuff and getting stuff done. Like it's not gonna fix everything, but I can imagine using this like once every month or two and genuinely finding it useful and actually eating the meals and being like, yeah, that was a good little thing that I did for myself. That meant that I actually ate food and cooked at home instead of getting takeout, and ate vegetables, ate good meals, you know? And as much as I say like, the cooking part was obviously quite high energy for me, like there was a bit more going on than I'm used to when I personally like decide to cook a meal, I was really surprised by how little mess was left afterwards. Like like obviously it's because like it's coming pre-portioned and everything, so there's just less general like bits around, and there's also like the sauce is in a packet, so I'm just putting the sauce packet straight in. I'm not spilling anything, but like just in general, from how much cooking I was doing and the way that you're using like multiple pans, multiple trays, I felt like there was going to be like loads of dishes and tidy up time at the end of every meal. And then I'd look over and be like, oh, it's just a handful of things. Like I can clean this really quickly. Like I do think overall it does cut down on like just all of the required energy, brain power, actually gathering your ingredients, going to the grocery store, all of that is massively cut down. So, like I say, it hasn't fixed it, but I am actually glad I did this. So, at some point, I am definitely going to get this again. I feel like this is probably going to be a once every month or two kind of thing for me, just when I need like a low thought sort of cooking week. The energy really wasn't on my side because I've been back and forth and worrying about winter and stuff, but otherwise, very helpful. And this was, as you can probably tell, not at all sponsored. I don't get sponsorships, but you do get a friendship code when you sign up, just like you do for a lot of sites. So I'm gonna link that down below, and if you want to use that, if you want to get a Gusto box, if you wanted to use my code, we both get a bit of money off or something, so that'd be really cool. But for now, as always, you can like this video and subscribe if you want to help me in the algorithm or just generally hang out here. I do make content like this on Tuesdays, Thursdays and Sundays, and I'm trying really hard to make better content. This video isn't as good as I wanted it to be. I'm probably going to remake it in a very similar way at some point. But I'm putting genuine effort in. I'm really quite passionate about this. Like, not... oh, it feels so cringy. Okay, so you can also follow me on Instagram or TikTok if you want to see more content from me. You can join me on Ko-fi or Patreon if you want to support me financially, but there's no pressure to, you don't have to. And for now, whoever you are and wherever you are, I hope you're having a lovely morning, evening, day, afternoon, week, month, year, and I will see you again in a couple of days.